Welcome back to today's economic news. I'm your host, John, here to unravel the intricate details behind Minnesota's latest welfare fraud scandal. Today, we'll peel back the layers on a story that involves over $1 billion, a diaspora community, and a centuries-old financial system at the heart of it all. Imagine being told that your hard-earned tax dollars are vanishing into a black hole, a fraud potentially propping up extremist operations overseas. That's the narrative stirring public outrage today, and we have to dissect what's really happening beneath the surface. You should be angry, and not just because public funds are being mismanaged in a way that might support dangerous causes. The real scandal is the systemic failure of oversight, exposing our economic vulnerabilities while unfairly vilifying communities whose lifelines depend on these mechanisms. Now let's rewind a bit. Back in the early 2000s, Minnesota, with a burgeoning Somali population, saw the rise of an informal money transfer system known as hawala. Picture this, a system operating without the bureaucratic red tape and regulations we associate with traditional banking. It's been crucial for Somali families who found traditional means unreliable for sending funds back home. Somalia's governmental banking systems were collapsing under their own weight, unable to serve their people. Hawala emerged as a beacon of hope, yet an unregulated one. It was a double-edged sword, facilitating essential support while also posing risks of exploitation for illicit activities. Fast forward to recent years, federal authorities have cast a wary eye on whether taxpayer dollars earmarked for welfare assistance are being funneled through these channels, potentially supporting extremist groups like Al-Shabaab. This is not just about financial oversight anymore. It's about accountability and security, leaving the public demanding answers and action. Let's dive into the hard data that paints a sobering picture. Fraud losses exceeding $1 billion, yes, with a B. To contextualize, this is like $200 from every tax-paying entity in Minnesota disappearing without a trace. This staggering amount doesn't just vanish, it's part of a systemic issue that's been ignored for too long. Meanwhile, Somali Americans across Minnesota send an average of $215 million annually to support their families back in Somalia. That's 15 to 20% of Somalia's total economic output, underscoring the critical role these remittances play. But here's the kicker. Oversight has been so lax that a portion of these billions is feared to end up in the wrong hands. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and political figures like Minnesota State Sen. Jordan Rasmussen have expressed their concerns, yet here we are, watching the same old tape play again. It begs the question, do they think we are ignorant to the glaring gaps in their systems? We have two narratives clashing here. The mainstream paints hawala as a nexus for fraudulent activities and a clandestine channel for terrorism funding. Yet, the other side, the reality, argues that these informal networks are the umbilical cord for an entire diaspora struggling without access to conventional banking. Without it, the welfare of countless families in Somalia hangs by a thread. This raises ethical dilemmas too. How do we ensure security without severing survival? Now, let's get into the thick of it. The libertarian perspective offers some searing insights. What's misunderstood as benign theft is much more sinister. Over $1 billion lost represents a tax on every citizen. This stolen sum pressures our local economy, driving inflation and threatening tax hikes to compensate for what's been siphoned away. When government efficiency fails, who picks up the tab? We do. This colossal failure in protecting public funds is a stark reminder of government incompetence, with bureaucracies more invested in firefighting than in fireproofing the systems in place. Moreover, this debacle isn't just a fiscal issue, it echoes the erosion of personal liberty. For myriad Somali families, hawala isn't just money, it's cultural continuity. Yet government scrutiny now breeds fear, potentially criminalizing the very networks that bind a community spread across continents. Is this the security we signed up for? In closing, this saga represents more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's a reminder of the fragility of trust between communities and their governments, of cultural practices and economic security. If you're frustrated with footing the bill for these mistakes, it's time to voice your dissent. Hit the subscribe button and stay informed with us. This is John on today's economic news, signing off. Until next time, stay curious and question everything.